In our interview, Mrs. Sadia Umar Farouk speaks on the status of refugees in the Northeast and the growing illegal migration concern. Mrs. Umar Farouk, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Gloria.
Now, a couple of weeks ago, some Nigerians returned from Cameroon. What really is the situation? Give us an update of that.
Following the insurgency in the northeastern part of the country, our nationals in that part of the country fled to Cameroon, thereby becoming refugees in that country. But with the coming of the present administration and the successes recorded in curbing this menace of the Boko Haram, the refugees over there had an inkling that the situation is calm now and it is safe for them to return. So some of them took it upon themselves to start coming back on their own. There are others who felt they were in very hard conditions in the camps, and they felt they could no longer endure, and they also decided on their own to come back home. The government of Cameroon and Nigeria has signed a tripartite agreement on the repatriation of these refugees back home, but with a caveat that these people can only return home voluntarily in safety and dignity. And so an agreement was signed. The commission was inaugurated earlier in August, and we had a technical working group from both sides, the government of Nigeria, government of Cameroon, as well as our partners, United Nations High Commission for Refugees, UNHCR. Since then, we've been meeting, and we have come up with a standard operating procedures on these returns, on the repatriation. We've met severally, and we had visited the affected states of Borno and Adamawa. We've also received our Cameroonian counterparts that had come to visit, a come-and-see visit to see the situation, because at their own end over there too, they have started the preparations for the returns. So far so good. We're expecting our pilot scheme to start in January for the return.
Is there an investigation into how Nigerians are living in Cameroon at the moment?
Yeah, we have visited the camp. The government of Nigeria, led by the Minister of Interior, has visited the camp. The Borno State government has also visited. At one point, the Nigerian government even volunteered to take some relief materials, food items, to our nationals over there. So we know the situation on ground, and it is not it is not a very good situation for one to be in a camp, and there's this eagerness and this zeal on the part of the refugees to want to return home.
Did you visit the camps in Cameroon?
In the northern part of Cameroon, where they are.
How are you tackling the issue of illegal migration? Because it's raising a lot of concern at the moment, and people are worried about how the government really intends to, delve into this matter against the backdrop of slave trade happening, reports in Libya.
The Commission is mandated to give assistance and protection to refugees, asylum seekers, migrants, and internally displaced persons. So on the issue of irregular migrants, we've been having series of dialogues and discussions on how to sensitize the general public on the ills and dangers of this irregular migration. We've taken our sensitization campaigns to the zones. We've done the south zone in Edo State precisely. We've done the southeast. We've also taken the campaign to northwest. And as you may be aware, we have a national migration policy which was adopted in 2015. And in that policy, we have a standard operating procedures for the conduct of return, readmission, and reintegration. So far, the government is doing its best, but it is something that has really eaten deep into our people. You know, this issue of people crossing the border, you know, and going to Europe and other parts of the world for greener pastures, on a wrong, illusion that, you know, there is really greener pastures over there. So we're doing our best. We're partnering with even our foreign partners to see how we can curb this menace.
Well, the Vice President set up a committee, quite recently to delve into the issue of illegal migration. Bring us up to speed with the committee's findings.
The Vice President summoned a meeting where all the stakeholders involved in issues of migration were there. The Commission was there, NEMA was there, NAPTIP was there, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Justice, and we discussed extensively on how our Nigerian government should go about it. And as you know, the President has given a directive that there should be immediate evacuation of our nationals that are in Libya. We've started that process of meetings, and then we've submitted our memo to the presidency on how we can start the evacuation. And but one thing you must know here is that, you know, it's one thing to evacuate those people that are in the detention centers that are known. And these issues of slave trading has to do with those secret detention centers. And, you know, it has to be a government-to-government kind of discussion, because you cannot, you know, cross border and go into the territorial integrity of any nation to start fishing out people. We can only evacuate those that we know where they are. Those that we do not, you know, the government has to, you know, sit with the government of Libya, if we really have a government there, because this is the issue. We've had a program in Dakar last week, and we had a conference with the United Nations Special Envoy in Africa, and these issues came up, and I asked, so how is the UN going to support us to, you know, bring out those people that are in the secret detention centers, because those are the victims of this slave trading. And it wasn't really a good response I got, because it's like, you know, we really have to see how we can even support the political situation in Libya for us to be able to achieve that.
Now, as at December 2016, the Borno State Governor talked about closing IDP camps. Bring us up to speed, because I know some of them are still in operation. What is really happening? Are these camps really going to be closed down?
Many are in operation because we have a pilot scheme in Borno, the Bama Initiative, which is almost 90% completed, and the people of Bama are really ready to return home. But as I mentioned earlier, unless, of course, the situation is really very safe for them to return, we cannot return them. Most of the local government areas have been liberated, yes, and those local government headquarters are ready for return. But you know, construction and reconstruction takes a while. So we're hoping that by the end of 2018, we should be able to return as many as possible back to their communities.
Well, very well, Mrs. Umar Farouk. Thank you for your time on Dateline Abuja.
Thank you so much, Gloria. It's my pleasure.
Well, I want to thank you very much for your mails as always. Keep sending in your views and comments using the email address and Twitter handle on your screen. And also be sure to share anything happening within your locality. Don't you forget you can view the program on youtube.com/channelsweb/videos. Thank you for watching this week. I'm Gloria Umezuke. See you again.